Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today I wanted to make a video on my school reading list for the coming spring semester. So I've seen a few people make these kinds of videos, and I always find them really interesting because I like seeing what kind of classes people are taking and I like seeing what's on their reading list, so I decided that I'm gonna make one for my spring semester as well because I actually have a lot of books for this semester. So I'm taking about 5 classes this semester, but I'm only going to be showing you guys the books from 3 of my classes because some of my other classes just have textbooks and textbooks are no fun. So this semester I am taking a sociology class and we have 2 books for this class, and the first one is called Punished: Policing the Lives of Black and Latino Boys by Victor M. Rios. This book sounds extremely interesting to me. It's about issues that are very important to me and that I'm very passionate about, and I am very excited to start this class, and I'm also very excited to get to reading this book. And it's definitely an important read and very relevant to our society today, especially here in America with the way things have been as of late, unfortunately, and I'm very excited to get to this one, and I was really happy when I saw that it was on my reading list for my sociology class. So I'm very excited to get to this one, and I'm hoping that I will enjoy it, even though I know it's probably going to be quite a difficult read. The second book that I have for my sociology class is Days of Destruction, Days of Revolt by Chris Hedges and Joe Sacco. I honestly know nothing about this book. I, again, have skimmed through it, and it looks really cool because it has, like, comics and things inside. Like, I don't know, this book just seems really interesting. I haven't paid too much attention to it to know and look up exactly what it's about, but again, it's a social issues class, so I'm assuming it's about some sort of social issue. But again, another one that I was very intrigued and interested and happy to see on my reading list for this class. So the next 6 books I have to show you guys are all from my literature class that I'm taking this semester, which I'm very excited about because as someone who loves books and who loves literature, I always love taking literature classes. So mostly what I have here are some poetry books and like short stories and some plays. But the first one I have here is The Favorite Poems of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I've never read anything by Longfellow before, but I've heard many of his poems quoted, and I'm actually very excited to read it because I always like reading classic authors that I've never read anything from before, just to see what the hype is about, why they're classics, why so many people love them so much. So I was really happy that this one was actually on my reading list. The next poetry book is by an author that I have barely heard of. I think I've heard them mentioned a couple of times, but never read anything by them. But it is Selected Poems of Gerard Manley Hopkins. Again, like I said, I've read nothing by Hopkins. I don't know if it's this Hopkins that I've heard referred to before or not. Really not sure. But nonetheless, it'll be interesting to read some of his poems because, again, like I said, I never read anything by his poems. And obviously, he is a famous poet, so it's always good to explore that world. The next one I have here I'm actually very excited to read because I've been wanting to read this story for a long time now, and it is Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis and Other Stories. I have a few friends who have read this who have said that they absolutely loved The Metamorphosis, so I'm really excited to get to it. The story really intrigues me itself, and I'm hoping that I end up enjoying it. Also, I've never read anything by Kafka before, and I've always wanted to, so I think it'll be a good place for me to start with this. This next one I was very happy to find on my reading list because it is In Our Time by Ernest Hemingway. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel for a little while, you know that I adore Ernest Hemingway's writing. I love his books. The Sun Also Rises is one of my all-time favorite books, and I've never read In Our Time, so when I saw that it was on my reading list for my English class, I was so happy and so excited because it means that I get to read more of him, and I just can't wait to get to this one. I love Hemingway, I love his short stories, I love his novels, so I'm very excited about this one as well. The next play that is on my list is actually a play that I had to read last semester for my English class, but this time I'm reading a different one out of the anthology, and it is the 3 Theban plays, Antigone, Oedipus the King, and Oedipus at Colonos. Last semester I had to read Antigone for my English class, and that was a reread for me because I'd read it in my sophomore year of high school, and this semester I think we're going to be reading all 3 of them, but I'm not 100% certain. But I've actually never read Oedipus the King and Oedipus at Colonos, so I'm very excited to find finally get to do that because it'll put the Antigone story into some bigger context, which I think will be very helpful with its understanding. But again, I'm very excited to get to this one because I love plays and I absolutely adore Antigone, so I'm excited to see what I think of the other two. And finally, the last book or play for my English class is one that I'm actually very, very excited about because I've read this before. It is one of my all-time favorite plays, and I never owned a copy of it until now, and I'm really happy that it was on this list because now I do own a copy of it, and it is A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. I think I've read A Midsummer Night's Dream probably like 2 or 3 times already, but I absolutely loved it. I've watched the stage production twice. It's one of my favorite plays. It's so funny. It's just so well written and so clever, and I'm very, very excited that it was on my reading list because I cannot wait to get to it because I haven't read it in years or watched it in years. So I was really, really pleased when this one was on my list because I absolutely love it and I cannot wait to reread it. And finally, the last book on my list is for my gender and media class, and it is called Feminism and Pop Culture by Andy Ziesler. I'm really, really excited to read this book because representation in media is probably one of my favorite areas of study, and it's something that extremely interests me, and I just read about it in my free time because I find it so fascinating. So I was so thrilled when this book was on the list because I've read another book by this publisher before, and they published all their books in a very similar way, and I like the format of it. It's very informative, it's very concise, and I'm so excited to get to read this one, and I kind of already want to start reading it now before we even get into class, which I might end up doing. So again, as with many of the books on my list, very, very pleased to see this one and very excited to actually get to it. So that is it, guys. Those are all of the books that are on my reading list for the spring semester. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any books on your reading list, if you're in school right now, or if you are planning to attend school in the coming semester. Let me know in the comments down below what some of the books that are on your reading list are, and if you are excited about any of them, or if you think that they are kind of dull and boring, because trust me, I have been there as well, where the books on my reading list I was not excited to get to at all, and it was just not fun to read. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! I don't mean it's taken me 2 weeks to watch the entire 7-movie series. No, I mean that I have watched the original trilogy 3 times now, the prequels each twice, and the new movie also twice in theaters, because I'm so obsessed.